tell me about the entire experience. What happened exactly on November 26th on board?
I have narrated it before, and I'll go over it again. I'll be very brief. So the flight takes off around noon, and the incidents happened after the lunch time, and lunch is served right maybe after an hour it takes off. That's the first meal they serve, and I was seated in seat 8A. He was in 8C, my next seat, and we were speaking to each other, chit-chatting like you do with co-passenger. But I could see that over the period of the 40-45 minutes of the lunchtime, he had close to 4 drinks. And, by the end of the lunch time, he had asked me the same questions multiple times. He asked me 3 times the same question. Oh, do you have kids? What do they do? Do you have kids? So what I did was, when I finished lunch, I went to the galley and I flagged one of the flight attendant, and I said that, listen, I think he had quite a few, and just keep an eye. And then I went to sleep because, it's a long sector and I travel a lot. That's how I catch up my rest. And I woke up to a sound, and I realized that he just kind of fell on his seat, and he's passed out, he's sleeping. So I thought maybe, it's turbulent, he lost his balance. So I went to use the restroom, and when I went to, after I finished using the restroom in the galley, is when I met the lady. And I first thought that, because it was a pretty turbulent flight, and I first thought that something must have spilled on her. And then she's a very quiet and very very decent lady, and that is part of the reason why a lot of people around didn't understand what happened. And she was very quiet, but when she said, no, this happened, and we were all shocked. And so there were 2 junior air hostesses who were in charge. They wore gloves, they cleaned her up, they cleaned her bag, which had her passport, and then, see, the problem is, I asked, I was there for a long time because I wanted them to give her a proper seat. Mm-hmm. First class was full, mm-hmm. But the business was full, but the first was absolutely empty, mm-hmm. And there were 4 seats in the first class. And so I went to one of the senior stewardess, and I said, just let her go and have a seat at the first. She said, sir, I can't do that. I need to take the permission of the captain. I said, then go and take the permission of the captain. So the thing is, the PIC, the pilot in command, he must have done his number of hours, and he was resting. And she said, the PIC is resting. Only after PIC is available, I can ask her to move. So, see what happened, and what happened with Mishra and the lady is wrong. But my complaint was how the thing was handled. I had written a 2-page complaint which went nowhere. And only when things came out and an FIR was filed, people reached out to me. But the 2 pages written complaint that I gave went nowhere. And my thing was that, you have a passenger in distress. You have to take, first make her comfortable. Be compassionate about her. She has gone through a trauma. And then a crime has happened. Your job is to report it to the appropriate authorities. So when I saw that they were trying to mediate the incidents, they took both of them, made them speak to each other, and Mr. Mishra came back, was holding her wet clothes, saying that, I'm going to dry clean it and send it. I understood that they are going to mediate and they didn't want to file an official complaint. But I felt morally that I should write a complaint. So I asked for the JLB or the General Ledger book. They said they don't have it. They gave me 2 pieces of paper. I wrote a 2-page complaint. I gave it to them. Fortunately, I had taken photograph of what I had written. And then, and I heard nothing, and I just thought the whole thing vanished. But eventually the truth comes out.
2 follow-up questions regarding your first comment, Doctor. First, the lady who was traveling in a business class repeated asking to shift it into first class, right?
So I asked her. See, the only option for her was to move to first class because business was full. There was no seats available.
True.
But what they did was, they cleaned her seat. They sprayed disinfect. They sprayed her seat. They put multiple blankets and made her sit in the same seat, which was smelling of urine. In fact, the lady next to her was also saying that, it's reeking, it's smelling. So what they could have done is they could have just taken her and put her to the business class seat, or when Shankar Mishra woke up, they could have asked him to go to economy and given her his seat. So, if they didn't want to give it. So nothing like that was done. And, and then these are decisions which should not take that long. You do this as fast as possible so that you can pacify a distressed passenger. That is one thing. And the second problem I have is that, they are in no authority to mediate when a indecent thing like, now that I'm reading per Indian rule, it is a crime. So if a crime has happened, the standard protocol is to report the crime. They are in no authority to mediate it. So that is what. And I was quiet. I wrote the complaint. Nothing happened. And somehow my name came because I think there was a letter which went to the chairman, which had I don't know how, but one print journalist got in touch with me and spoke to me. And I was quiet. I didn't want to say, but when I heard people saying that it's lie, it didn't happen, I just thought I should tell the real story.
My second question to you that, I hope that, are you aware of that he's behind the bar for 14 days and arrested yesterday?
Yes. And,
how you think that, I'm interested in your first reactions after his getting arrested from, after 2 months?
Well, I know it was going to happen because you cannot do something like this and get away. It was a question of when, and I was surprised that it was taking so long because he should have just come out because I knew, but that the investigation have started. Let the law take its own action and let the investigation happen, because at the end of the day, it is not a good story.
Right.
He's a young person. He lost his job. I feel bad for his family, his father and his wife. He has a kid. I feel horribly for this 70+ old lady who went through this whole traumatic experience. And even if you see as an airline, it is not something Air India wants to hear, because Tata have invested significant amount of money to buy this airline. So it is not a happy story for anybody. And there is no winners here, sir. this is a sad incident. The question is what we learn from it, and we should know how to act better and deal with the situation better.
So many person frequent flyer tweeted and making hashtags. We are not going to fly anymore with the Air India. Do you think that kind of trolling should be done against the airlines or against any person?
Absolutely not. And you can quote me that I will continue to fly Air India. I still feel I still feel very proud to be an Indian and to fly Air India. And I have nothing against Air India, because one isolated incident like this does not define what Air India do or have done. I am myself from the northeast of India. Growing up, they have been our go-to airline. When it comes to disaster, when it comes to evacuation, Air India have always been besides the Indian citizens. So I don't support that kind of trolling. Now it is, what happened is unfortunate, and it was a judgment call by the head of the crew and the head of the flight, which is the captain. But please don't penalize the entire airline because of this, because they're just beginning to take over, and this is when we should support the airline and just not speak against it.
Sir, regarding your complaint which you filed on board, Air India said in a statement that after this incident was reported to the management, they actively done and took action against it. Do you think that incident was happened on November 26th? Complaint was filed on December 28th after ban of 30 days, and there is no actions on your complaint on the incident during the 30 days. It is justified, it is acceptable?
I don't think even my complaint went to Air India, because I gave a written complaint. I don't think Air India even got the, I mean to say the corporate, I don't even think they got my complaint. So and I think the first official complaint they got was from the lady in on December, whatever date you are saying, and then they started taking action. I'm 100% positive that nobody even gave the piece of paper to. I don't think they even turned it in.
And my last question to you, sir, that do you think that kind of incidents, insult image of airlines as a country in the world?
See, as a global citizen, I am proud to be an Indian. You have to understand the Indian workforce, the Indian professionals, be it US, be it UK, be it anywhere in the world, is very looked high up. We have worked hard to achieve this level that people like to hire Indian workforce. And yes, it gives a bad name, but again, one such incident should not define us or define the Indian professionals or define the airline, and people should not use a broad brush to paint a dark picture about Indian passengers, Indian professionals, or the Air India as such.
Thank you so much, sir. But I'll ask you in Hindi one question, sir.
Go ahead.
Yeah, सर जब इंसिडेंट हुआ आप वहां पे मौजूद थे, आपको ऐसा लगा कि जो पैसेंजर है उन्होंने नशे की हालत में, मतलब इतना ज्यादा वो शराब पी रखी थी कि उसको ये पता नहीं चला कि वो क्या कर रहे हैं? डू यू फील ड्यूरिंग द ट्रैवलिंग, आपको ऐसा लगा?
देखिए, जब लंच खा रहा था तब मुझे लगा कि उनको थोड़ा सा उनको
नशे में
हल्का से इंटॉक्सिकेशन हुआ है, लेकिन देखिए अल्कोहल किसको कैसे इफेक्ट करता है ये बताना बहुत मुश्किल होता है। और ये भी डिपेंड करता है कि आप किस हाल में होते हो। आप ऐसे बहुत रेगुलर ड्रिंकर है जो कभी कभी उनको जो 2 ड्रिंक पी के भी उनका हाल खराब हो जाता है। कभी होता है कि कोई लोग है कि बहुत ड्रिंक ले सकते हैं। इट्स वेरी इंडिविजुअलिस्टिक। तो यही है कि अ, अपना स्पेशली आप इन द एयर जब आप डिहाइड्रेटेड होते हो, आप सच आप पानी कम पीते हो। हर एक को ये ख्याल रखना चाहिए कि व्हाट इज फंक्शनल, मैं कितना पी सकता हूँ और कितना पी के मैं एक एक शरीफ को पैसेंजर की तरह बर्ताव कर सकता हूँ।
लेकिन सर आपने एक बात ये भी कही थी कि जिस वक्त उन्होंने ये हरकत की उसके बाद आपने एक कंप्लेन भी फाइल की, और कंप्लेन फाइल करने के बाद आपने एक एडवाइस भी किया था कि बिजनेस क्लास फुल है तो फर्स्ट क्लास में पैसेंजर को शिफ्ट कर देना चाहिए। उसके बाद क्या हुआ?
नहीं हुआ, उनको नहीं दिया गया। 4 फर्स्ट क्लास के सीटें खाली थे और एंड तक उनको फर्स्ट क्लास में नहीं बिठाया गया।
तो क्या
और
बोला गया सर आपको?
मेरा जो कंप्लेन है, आखिर में मैंने कैपिटल लेटर में यही लिखा है दैट इट वाज अ वेरी पुअर जजमेंट कॉल बाय द कैप्टन। देखिए, जो फ्लाइट होता है, एट द एंड ऑफ द डे आप क्रू बोलिए, जो भी स्टाफ बोलिए, द बक स्टॉप्स विद द टॉप गाय, और द टॉप गाय कैप्टन था। और
ट्रू।
कैप्टन को सब कुछ करना चाहिए था जिससे ये होल इंसिडेंस और अच्छा से हैंडल हो सकता था। देखिए, जो जो उस लेडी के साथ हुआ है, वो आप एक 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 महिला के साथ, उनका डिग्निटी के साथ एक खिलवाड़ किया गया है। वो आप कभी वापस नहीं ले सकते, वो ट्रॉमा आप वापस नहीं ले सकते। लेकिन
राइट।
आप कंपैशनेट हो सकते हैं। आप ऐसा कुछ कीजिए ताकि उनका जो ट्रॉमा है वो थोड़ा हल्का हो जाए। देखिए, जो उनके साथ हुआ है, देखिए होल इंसिडेंस इट्स इरिपेयरेबल। ये वापस लाना मुश्किल है वो एक्सपीरियंस। लेकिन ऐसे छोटे छोटे चीज होता है जो ज्यादा कुछ नहीं लगता है। क्योंकि देखिए, ऐसा नहीं था कि उनको अगर फर्स्ट क्लास में बिठाया जाता तो ये खाना अलग देना पड़ता, कुछ देना पड़ता उनको। इट वाज जस्ट एन इजी थिंग। और अगर उनको नहीं बिठाना था तो जैसे ही मिस्टर मिश्रा जाग गया था, उनको पीछे ले जाके कहीं पे बिठा देता और उनका सीट दे देते। मेरा वही द होल थिंग इज इट वाज अ वेरी पुअर जजमेंट कॉल अकॉर्डिंग टू मी बाय द पायलट। और मेरा यही कंप्लेन है कि उनको उनको ट्रेन किया जाता है कि ऐसा कोई इंसिडेंस हो तो आपको अप्रोप्रिएट अथॉरिटी को इत्तला कर देना चाहिए। तो वो
ऑन
लोग ने
टाइम।
किया
ऑन टाइम।
ऑन टाइम। ऑन टाइम एंड इनफैक्ट लैंडिंग से पहले ही द कैप्टन कुड हैव सेड एटीसी कि भाई कीप द एयरपोर्ट पुलिस रेडी, ऐसा कोई हादसा हुआ है, हम जैसे हम उतरेंगे पैसेंजर को अप्रीहेंड करो, जो भी बयान लेना है लो, फिर पुलिस अपना कार्रवाई करता। और अभी भी कर रहा है वो लोग। एंड काफी तेजी से सब कुछ किया है। मेरा वही कंप्लेन है कि नाइदर द क्रू नॉट द कैप्टन, उनको ये डिसीजन नहीं लेना चाहिए था कि मीडिएशन से हो जाएगा।
आपको ऐसा लगता है सर कि अभी इस इंसिडेंट के बाद जो 2 इंसिडेंट हुए, एक नवंबर 26 जिसमें आप थे, एक दिसंबर 6, ये 2 ऐसे केसेस हैं जिसमें लोगों ने ये ट्रोल करना शुरू किया सोशल मीडिया पे कि वी आर नॉट गोइंग टू फ्लाई विद एयर इंडिया फर्स्ट। सेकंड, आपको ऐसा लगता है कि ऐसी घटनाओं से, चूंकि आप भारतीय हैं, अमेरिका में रहते हैं, दुनिया घूम रहे हैं आप, ऐसी इंसिडेंट्स एक नेशनल कैरियर जो रहा एयरलाइन अब टाटा के पास, रेपुटेड कंपनी के पास है, देश और एयरलाइन की छवि को खराब करता है? 2 सवाल है मेरे आपसे।
देखिए, इंडिया बहुत बड़ी कंट्री है। हम वी we are close to being a superpower. ऐसा इंसिडेंस इंडिया का इमेज खराब नहीं कर सकता है, लेकिन क्या होता है, इट क्रिएट्स अ लॉट ऑफ नॉइज एंड बज. तो क्या होता है कि ऐसा एक इंसिडेंस हम जो 100 अच्छे काम करते हैं उनको कवर कर देते हैं. बट as a nation, as an airline, I think इंडिया बहुत आगे बढ़ चुके हैं. अब टाटा ने अभी एयर इंडिया को टेक ओवर किया है. टेक ओवर करने से पहले भी आप ओवरऑल अगर देखिए, ब्यूरोक्रेट्स चला रहे थे, नहीं तो एयर इंडिया वाज डूइंग फाइन.
Right, sir. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much for giving your precious time to us.
You're welcome. Yeah.
I need a one screenshot with you. Thank you. Thank you so much, sir. And I love to take your complaint if you are comfortable to send me on WhatsApp.
The complaint, you know what? I'll wait because they may need it for this, but you can. What I'll do is.
नमस्कार, मैं हूं मानक गुप्ता. अगर आपको हमारा ये वीडियो पसंद आया हो तो इसे लाइक और शेयर जरूर करें, और हाँ, हमें सब्सक्राइब और फॉलो करना ना भूलें ताकि आप देश और दुनिया की कोई खबर मिस ना करें. तो जुड़े रहिए हमारे साथ और देखते रहिए News24.